එදිනෙදා ඔබේ මුළු සිරුරටම රැකවරණයක්. සුදේශී කොඹ සබන්.
ලෙන්ගතුකම වැඩි කරගන්න ලව්ජු රුපියල් 50ට අඩු කළා.
මාමේ එන්න අපිට එකක් බොමු.
යන මොකද්ද එච්චර දෙය යන පිට මේ යන විදිහට යන්නේ. හැමදාම නෑ මල්ලි හැමදාමවත් නෑ. Thunderman. මල්ලි තා පොඩි වැඩක් පොඩි 1යි විනාඩි 2යි 4 වෙනවා 5යි 6යි 7යි 10යි right මොකද්ද leopard කියන එක UNP එකට කලින් ගමු. ඔව් UNP එකට කලින් ගමු. ඊට පස්සේ ඔව් Thunderman එතකොට අන්තිම. ඔව් ඊට කලින් බ්‍රේක් යන්න ඕනේ නැහැ නේ. හැබැයි ගන්නත් වෙයිද දන්නේ නැහැ අරක මේ අන්තිම හරියේ තියෙන හින්දා නේ. Rajapaksa addressed a virtual high-level event organized by Prime Ministers of Canada, Jamaica, and the United Nations Secretary General.
Tonight, no strings attached. The President calls for unconditional debt support from global creditors.
Most countries have honoured their debt obligations and time has come to provide new space through a decent haircut by official creditors.
Cleaning out the house. UNP Working Committee unanimously suspends 99 members. Stick to your promises. The President orders struggling non-functional finance companies to pay up. Loss of an asset. Blame game begins as the black leopard dies on treatment table. All that and much more coming up on First at 9, this Friday the 29th of May 2020.
Nava Sunlight Sakura. Then Dikukal Pavatina Sakura Mal Suandin.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Mohammed Naika. Let's start with your local stories. Now, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa addressed a virtual high-level event organized by the Prime Ministers of Canada, Jamaica and the United Nations Secretary General titled Financing for Development in the Era of COVID-19 and Beyond. In his address, the President called for bilateral and multilateral agencies to take the onus and step forward as development partners of developing and middle-income economies without conditionality in terms of lending. The President added that official creditors have a special responsibility to get creative in providing space for the recovery of the developing world and reciprocate the honouring of debt obligations with a decent haircut.
In Sri Lanka, main transmission channels through labour income, export-related income, tourism and connected services have impacted our real economy. Loss of employment and livelihood is large. Whatever the difficulties we have confronted, our policy of people first cannot be compromised as human development is the only asset we value most. As this is a crisis beyond the control of government and business, international support by way of unconditional budget support and compensatory debt deferment facilities for official debt will have to come from multilateral and bilateral official lenders so that private debt and equity markets will not lose confidence. Most countries have honored their debt obligations, and time has come to provide new space through a decent haircut by official creditors. The profiling of official debt and medium-term emergency budget support loans by each major bilateral and multilateral lenders will not only provide macroeconomic space to meet private debt obligations and relax trade and payment systems. It is noted that middle-income countries seem to get subsumed under the overarching classification of developing countries, and thereby their requirements are not wholly met. The fast actions by large bilateral, multilateral agencies without placing conditionalities and coming forward as development partners in respective developing and middle-income economies is the responsibility of leading agencies and leaders of the world.
Now, residents of Nuwara district will remain under curfew for the entire weekend, with the government having announced a 24-hour curfew in the district tomorrow. The entire country, meanwhile, will be under curfew on Sunday. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's COVID-19 active cases have now reached 776. However, what is significant with this figure is that all new cases remain naval personnel and recently repatriated Sri Lankans in quarantine, proving that the country may just have overcome the community transmission stage. With that, recoveries too have been on the rise after 9 more naval personnel recovered, bringing the country's total to 754.
77 days since the discovery of the first COVID-19 infected patient in the country, a total of 754 persons have recovered from the virus, while the number of active cases now stands at 776. The number of recoveries reached this figure after 9 naval personnel were discharged today after recovering from the virus. In the meantime, 61 persons were reported COVID-19 positive yesterday, while 9 more were detected today. Among them are 35 Sri Lankan returnees in quarantine, while the remaining 26 are naval personnel. Of the 35 returnees, 18 are returnees from Kuwait and the other 17 from Dubai. From among the total Kuwait returnees, 324 have been diagnosed as COVID-19 positive. Currently, the highest number of COVID-19 infections continues to be reported from the Navy. Since the discovery of the first COVID-19 infected Navy sailor, a total of 724 have contracted the virus to date. The number of Navy recoveries now stands at 366. In the meantime, PCR tests continue to be conducted on random groups within communities identified as high risk. Biological samples and blood samples of a randomly selected group of taxi drivers and delivery personnel were obtained today.
36 දෙනෙකුගේ PCR සහ රුධිර පරීක්ෂණ අද කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මේ දිනයන්හිදී සිදු කරපු PCR පරීක්ෂණ වලින් ප්‍රජා පරීක්ෂණ වලින් තාම එක රෝගියෙක්වත් නැයි මාසය තුලදී අපිට වාර්තා වෙලා නැහැ.
Meanwhile, Director General of Health Services Dr. Anil Jasinger said that the Itukama Healthcare and Social Security Fund has granted 100 million rupees to the Ministry of Health for carrying out PCR tests and added that a decision has been taken to allocate a further rupees 100 million to raise awareness among the general public about the COVID-19 threat.
ඊයේ දිනේ PCR පරීක්ෂණ 1713ක් කරනු ලැබුවා. ඒ වගේම අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා විසින් ඇති කරනු ලැබූ COVID-19 පිළිබඳ සමාජ ආරක්ෂණ සෞඛ්‍ය අරමුදල. ඒ අරමුදලෙන් දැනට මිලියන 100ක් PCR පරීක්ෂණ සඳහා යෙදවීමටත් තීරණය කරනු ලැබුවා.
Meanwhile, 277 Sri Lankan students in Belarus were repatriated this morning via a special flight chartered by the national carrier Sri Lankan Airlines. The students were disinfected and then directed towards quarantine centres.
කොරෝනා වෛරසය පැතිරීම වළක්වන්න සබන් යොදා දෑත් සෝදන්න.
The Supreme Court today halted the consideration of an intervening petition pertaining to the multiple fundamental rights petitions filed challenging the date set for polls and the President's Gazette notification dissolving the Parliament. The petitions were considered for a 9th day today and it was postponed until 10 a.m. tomorrow.
The Supreme Court today considered the fundamental rights petitions filed challenging the President's Gazette notification dissolving Parliament for a 9th day. Preliminary submissions of the petitioners and respondents are now complete, and today legal counsels representing intervening petitioners made submissions before court. They argued that the President had dissolved the Parliament legally and the Gazette on the dissolution of Parliament cannot be invalidated. Attorney at law Krishmal Varnasurya, however, presented a different argument. Representing member of the Sitawaka Pradeshiya Sabha Pradeep Kumara, who had filed an intervening petition, Varnasuriya said that a republic cannot exist without a parliament. He said that the Gazette notification issued by the President on the 2nd of March is only effective until the 2nd of June. Varnasuriya went on to say that all the subsections of Article 70 of the Constitution state that a dissolved parliament must convene within 3 months and it is a constitutional requirement. Chief Justice Jayanta Jayasuriya then told Varnasuriya that the intervening petition has been filed on the basis that if the reliefs requested by the petitioners are granted, it could leave him aggrieved. The Chief Justice said that there is a contradiction between the oral submissions made by Varnasuriya and the stance of the intervening petition's content. The Chief Justice then asked Varnasuriya to clarify whether he is making submissions in favour of the stance of the petitioners or not. Varnasuriya responded saying that he needs to consult his client on the matter and court proceedings were halted for 10 minutes. Afterwards, the 5-member judge bench decided to stop considering the intervening petition since facts submitted via the petition does not aid the case before court. The court postponed further consideration of the FR petitions until 10 a.m. tomorrow, where the responses of the legal counsels of petitioners are due.
Moving on with other stories, the Presidential Commission of Inquiry probing the Easter Sunday attacks heard more evidence yesterday, and this time from a serving intelligence officer who carried out probes on several suspects prior to the attacks. The Commission was told of deliberate inaction on key requests made to former CID Director Shani Abesekara for the questioning of the Marvanella vandalism suspects in connection to the discovery of explosives from Vanathavilluwa. The witness also revealed that a list of extremists was available to top officials, including former army commanders, since 2016, with the Security Council also having discussed the issue.
The Presidential Commission of Inquiry investigating the Easter Sunday attacks heard evidence from a top official of the State Intelligence Service yesterday. The intelligence officer told the Commission that on the day of the bombings, he had been instructed by his superior to investigate extremist content circulating on social media. The Commission asked the witness whether information had been received as of the 21st of April regarding Mohammed Jamil, the bomber who detonated himself at the Tropical Inn in Dehiwala. In response, the witness stated that prior information had been received regarding Jamil's involvement in extremist activities and that he had been instructed to visit his residence to carry out further investigations. The witness added that following this, a team including himself, a senior officer, and 5 other personnel had visited the suspect's wife's home in Lansiavatte in Vällänpitiä. There, Jamil's father-in-law had informed the team that the suspect had already left on a 3-day religious trip, following which all attempts made to contact him through his family members were unsuccessful. However, when the team had returned to the residence and identified themselves as security officers, the suspect's wife had revealed that she had learned of him staying at a mosque in Vällänpitiä after the mosque security officer had telephoned her to verify his identity. The officers had then contacted the mosque security officer, who revealed that the suspect had by then had already departed for Dehiwala in a 3-wheeler along Marine Drive. Upon reporting this information to his superior, the intelligence officer was then instructed to shift focus to uncovering information on Mohammed Ibrahim Ilham. The witness then stated that as prior information had been uncovered on Ilham's extremist activities, field surveillance officers located his residence in Dematagoda. The witness then stated that as the team left Jamil's wife's residence and headed to Dematagoda, the Dehiwala and Dematagoda bomb blasts were reported. He added that he then proceeded to a residence near the Samantha cinema in Dematagoda, having assumed that Jamil and Ilham were behind the Dehiwala and Dematagoda blasts. However, the intelligence officer also informed the Commission that as soon as he entered through the door of the house in Dematagoda, another bomb detonated inside the house. The Commission then asked the witness whether the intelligence community had a list of suspects involved in Islamic extremism. The witness told the Commission that this list had been made available to top officials from 2016, with discussions having been held on the issue. He revealed that a separate dossier on Zahran Hashim too had been provided to the State Intelligence Service as well, and added that the names of the Marvanella vandalism suspects too were included in the list at the time. Further, the witness revealed that requests for the questioning of these 2 suspects made to then CID Director Shani Abesekara after the detection of explosives in Vanathavilluwa had fallen on deaf ears at the time. The witness also alleged that although there was an urgent need to question the two suspects, the CID director had blocked these requests for more than 3 months. The commission was told that former army commanders Lieutenant General Krishantha De Silva and Lieutenant General Mahesh Senanayake had been briefed on all information regarding Islamic extremist activities. When the commission asked the witness whether he was aware of any high-level discussions on the subject after informing the army commanders, he responded that the matter had been discussed at the Security Council meeting.
Leopards are a natural asset to any country, and black leopards, which are even rarer, are even more so. But Sri Lanka lost one today. That story after this break. Welcome back. You're watching First at 9. Now, the rare black leopard, which was rescued from a wire trap on Tuesday, died today. With many theories surrounding the reason behind the demise of the leopard, the Hatton District Judge and Magistrate ordered a post-mortem of the animal. Wildlife officials say the stricken big cat did not sustain life-threatening injuries when they ceded custody of the animal to the veterinarians.
The rare black leopard that was found on the 26th of this month, caught in a wire trap at the Lakshapana estate in Nalatanya, died today. The big cat was rescued by the officers of the Wildlife Department. The injured animal was taken to the Randanigala Veterinary Hospital for treatment and was then later transferred to the Elephant Transit Home in Udawalawe National Park for further treatment. Veterinary surgeon Malka Abeyewardena says that the leopard sustained injuries to its neck area after being caught in the wire trap. However, Hatton District Judge and Magistrate J. Trotsky today ordered that the post-mortem examination of the black leopard be conducted at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine and Animal Science in Peradeniya, after considering what the officials of the Nalatanya Wildlife Office had reported to the court. The wildlife officials had stated that the animal did not have severe injuries and added that despite the request to veterinarians to treat the animal, the veterinarians deemed that further treatment was required and took the animal to the Elephant Transit Home at the Udawalawe National Park.
The United National Party Working Committee today unanimously approved its leader Ranil Wickremesinghe's decision to suspend 99 members who submitted nominations for the looming polls from the Samagi Jana Balawega. Among them are some high-profile persons, including former opposition leader Sajith Premadasa and over 50 MPs of the dissolved parliament.
Leader of the United National Party, Ranil Wickremesinghe, recently informed 99 members of the party who submitted nominations from the Samagi Jana Balawega in writing that their party membership will be suspended. The UNP constitution deems that if any member submits nominations from another political party, the move should have the approval of the UNP Working Committee. The UNP members in question, however, are accused of submitting nominations from the SJB sans written approval from the UNP Working Committee. Although a window of 7 days was given to appeal the decision to suspend the UNP memberships, none from the SJB submitted an appeal. As such, the UNP Working Committee met this morning under the patronage of party leader Ranil Wickremesinghe and unanimously approved Wickremesinghe's decision to suspend the membership of 99 members. 37 members of the party's working committee were in attendance at the meeting today. The most prominent figure to have his UNP membership suspended is former opposition leader Sajith Premadasa. The others include Lakshman Kiriella, Kabir Hashim, Gayantha Karuna Tilaka, Mangala Samaravira, Talata Atukorala, Ranjit Madhuma Bandara, Field Marshal Sarath Fonseca, Harin Fernando, Ajit P. Pereira, Nalin Bandara, Dr. Harsha De Silva, Eran Vikramaratna, S.M. Marika, Sujiva Sena Singha, Mujibur Rahman, Ajitmana Perima, Harshana Rajakaruna, Kavindya Jayawardena, Ranjan Ramanayaka, Ranjit Aluvihare, Vasanta Aluvihare, Rohini Kaviratna, Vijaypala Hettiarachi, Bandulalal Bandarigoda, Buddhika Patirana, Dilip Vedarachi, Tushara Indunil, Ashok Abe Singha, Hector Apuhami, Niroshan Pereira, P. Harrison, Chandima Gamage, Chandrani Bandara, Ravindra Samaravira, Chaminda Vijay Siri, Hesha Vitanage, Mayanti Disanayaka, Hirunika Premachandra, and Abdul Halim. In the meantime, the working committee of the Samagi Jana Balawega met today at the party headquarters in Athulkote. They insisted that the move made by the UNP to suspend them is illegal and legal action will be taken against it. They added that most of the UNP working committee were present at the SJB working committee meeting. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court postponed the consideration of a petition filed before the Supreme Court, seeking a writ order invalidating the nomination submitted by the Samagi Jana Balawega, led by Sajith Premadasa, until the 9th of June. The petition was filed by Colombo district candidate of the UMP, Oshila Herath.
The remains of late leader of the Ceylon Workers' Congress, Mugen Thundermans, were placed at the CWC headquarters located along the Ananda Kumaraswamy Mouth in Colombo 3 yesterday for public respects. This morning, however, the remains were taken to the late politician's residence in Ramboda of Kotmale by air. Late Thundermans' family members and relatives took charge of the remains in Gampola and they were taken to Kotmale in a cortege. Estate workers, meanwhile, flocked by roadside to pay respects to their late leader. Late Thundermans' birthday falls today, and estate workers who in other years call on him at his residence to wish him well flocked to pay their last respects this year. His remains are set to be placed at the CWC headquarters in Kottagala tomorrow. Late Thundermans' funeral will be worked off on Sunday with state sponsorship at the Norwood Grounds in Hatton. Now, Cabinet co-spokesperson Dr. Bandula Gunawardena announced today that the President has instructed struggling and non-functioning finance companies to pay the maximum possible monthly interest payment to depositors struggling in face of the COVID-19 threat.
වසාදමා තියෙන හෝ අකාර්යක්ෂමව තියෙන මූල්‍ය සමාගම් වලින් ලැබෙමින් පවතින පොලි ආදායම් සහ වෙනත් ලැබීම් කොවිඩ්-19න් පසු බොහෝ දෙනෙකුට නොලැබී යාමේ තත්ත්වයක් උදා වෙලා තිබුණා. අපි එය කැබිනට් මණ්ඩලයට ඉදිරිපත් කළා. ඒ අනුව ජනාධිපතිතුමා නියම කරනු ලැබුවා. කඩිනමින් මේ තැන්පත්කරුවන්ට ගෙවිය යුතු මුදල් කුමන ආකාරයකින් ගෙවන්න පුළුවන් උපරිම ප්‍රමාණය වහාම ක්‍රියාත්මක වෙන පරිදි ගෙවීම ආරම්භ කරන්නට අවශ්‍ය පියවර ගන්නා ලෙස.
Credit rating agency RCRA Lanka warns that the non-bank finance sector should expect a more challenging outlook than licensed commercial banks. They cite the sectors catering to highly vulnerable segments, high dependence on customer deposits for funding sources, and additional pressure stemming from the central bank's core capital requirement in the medium term as reasons for the outlook.
Credit rating agency ICRA Lanka has warned that the outlook for non-bank financial institutions is likely to be more challenging than for licensed commercial banks following the confinement period. The rating agency has attributed the assessment to 3 key reasons, the first of which is that they expect the sector's asset quality to continue to deteriorate due to finance companies in Sri Lanka catering mainly to the informal and relatively vulnerable segments of the economy, such as self-employed individuals, micro-businesses and SMEs. The agency says that income levels of these segments will remain volatile with the COVID-19 disruption having amplified this volatility. According to the report's data, as with the banking sector, licensed finance companies failed to recover from the April Easter Sunday fallout, with non-performing assets ratios close to 10.8% in December 2019, compared to 9.2% in June 2019. ICRA Lanka expects significant deterioration in asset quality triggered by defaults and deferred payments in the second quarter of this year. The report adds that although the CBSL debt moratorium will prevent a larger portion of these facilities being classified as non-performing, the fundamental asset quality of the segment will significantly deteriorate as a result of the crisis, despite the classification. The second reason cited is that fixed deposits largely characterize a limited diversity in finance company funding profiles, with 65 to 70% of total funding contributed by customer deposits, while the balance was mainly from bank borrowings. The agency notes that the funding diversity of smaller finance companies remains even less, with the figure at 90% of their total debt, and warns that higher deposit dependence, coupled with limited access to funding lines, could create liquidity stress, with deposits tending to move to safer asset classes during crisis periods. Further, it warns that although the debt moratorium offered by the CBSL covers some of the key asset classes of finance companies, commercial vehicle leasing, SME loans, loans for the self-employed, and gold loans and pawning, collections on other facilities that are not covered by the moratorium are also likely to be much slower during the immediate to short term. In addition, the sharp overall reduction in loan recoveries is expected to significantly affect the liquidity profile of finance companies. However, the report says that subdued loan growth over the short term to medium will provide some liquidity comfort for finance companies, while the recent reduction of the statutory liquidity limit for LFCs is expected to provide further support. RCRA Lanka's third reason cites the CBSL's core capital requirement, which is expected to put additional pressure on finance companies in the medium term, with the pandemic crisis and the countrywide lockdown likely to affect the timelines of capital raising exercises. Finally, the report says that although the extension provides for compliance with minimum capital requirements, adds some breathing space for LFCs, given the challenging macro environment, meeting the minimum capital requirement will remain a major hurdle.
And now to bring you a market update. Sri Lankan shares closed lower today, dragged down by losses in heavyweight industrial and financial stocks, but the benchmark index clocked a second consecutive weekly gain. The all-share price index closed down 0.83% at 4,846.76. For the week, however, the bourse gained about 1%. Trading volume on the benchmark index slumped to 39.2 million rupees compared with 109.6 million in the previous session. Foreign investors were net buyers, raking in 622.3 million rupees worth of shares. Now here's a brief report on today's market performance.
The stock market ended on negative territory, reversing the impact seen on the past two sessions on the back of the recent Fitch report regarding the creditworthiness of the domestic issuers after the sovereign rating downgrade. The banking and the capital goods sector contributed 73% of the turnover for the session, while the parcel trades made in Ceylon Tobacco and Sampath boosted the turnover substantially. And market was dragged down by the predominant due to the price losses in the big cap, John Keells and Ceylon Tobacco. The market reached the intraday high of 4,901 within the first few minutes of trading, and thereafter the tumbling down hit the intraday low of 4,838 and before closing at 4,847, losing 40 points. And market recorded a net foreign inflow, witnessing a high foreign participation.
Now to bring you a currency update, the Sri Lankan rupee closed at 186 rupees and 20 cents against the US dollar today, marginally stronger compared with last session's close of 186 rupees and 30 cents. Now let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. We'll see you shortly after this break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, South America's largest country, Brazil, has now taken the global spotlight, recording the highest number of cases and fatalities, standing only second to the United States. Meanwhile, India recorded its highest daily infections within the past day, taking its overall COVID-19 infections past 165,000.
Brazil registered a new record in COVID-19 cases, along with more than 1,000 deaths in a 24-hour period. The South American country has the world's second highest number of confirmed novel coronavirus cases after the US. According to Brazilian Health Ministry data, 26,417 new cases were confirmed in a 24-hour period ending late on Thursday. In that same period, Brazil experienced its third highest number of virus deaths since the start of the pandemic. Meanwhile, the Spanish government will discuss with various political parties whether to seek another extension to a state of emergency over the coronavirus beyond June 7th, government spokeswoman Maria Jesus Montero said. She added that Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez would disclose during the weekend the government's decision on such an extension, which has to be approved by Parliament. Meanwhile, in Asia, India has registered another record daily increase with 7,466 new coronavirus cases. The Indian Health Ministry's new figures on Friday show India now has 165,799 cases with 4,706 deaths, which both now exceed China. Prime Minister Narendra Modi's government is expected to issue new guidelines this weekend, possibly extending the lockdown in worst hit areas as it promotes economic activity.
And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.